Hello there. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video. And on this specific training, we're going to continue talking about the Nimble CRM integration with the PhoneBurner Power Dialer. And at this point, you should have already linked your PhoneBurner account with your Nimble CRM. And the next thing I want to talk about is actually launching a dial session. How do you actually initiate a dial session from the Nimble CRM? So let's jump over to our contacts. From contacts, I'm going to go and grab a list of records. I'm going to go to my basic sales pipeline. And from here, I can select all records, or I can select individuals. So let's say I want to call Andrew, I want to call George, I want to call Heather. I get to choose exactly which records I want to initiate a dial session to. Once I've made that selection, under the Actions menu, you're going to see an option to create a dial session. I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Dial Session. And that's going to open up a new tab where I can now choose whether or not I want to have a phone script up on the screen, the dialing and live answer set. So those are the buttons that I'm going to see while I'm making phone calls. If I want to leave a pre-recorded voicemail as I'm making calls, the caller ID I want to use as I'm making calls, whether or not I want to dial in power or pause and preview mode. And finally, if I want to have call recording enabled. Now, obviously, these settings are going to be different. For you than they are for me, but every dial session, you have the option to configure those settings before you start calling. So let's go ahead and hit continue, and let's get connected. So I'm going to go ahead and grant mic access. In my particular case, I'm going to grant mic access. You may be dialing in. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit start dialing, and I'm now calling Andrew Sample. Let's say Andrew doesn't answer, goes to voicemail. I click the voicemail button, and I'm off to the next call. Now I'm calling Heather. Let's say Heather doesn't answer, goes to voicemail. I click that button, and I'm off to the next call. I don't have to listen to the entire greeting. I don't have to wait for the beep. I just click that button as soon as I know it's a voicemail. Now if somebody answers live, no pause, no delay, no awkward silence, I'm going to click Live Answer. When I'm done talking to them, I'm going to hit End Call. When I'm done with that call, I can take as much time on this record either here in PhoneBurner, or I can jump back over to the Nimble CRM to make any additional updates to that record. And the system is not going to move on to the next call until I disposition it. So let's say I booked an appointment with George. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and click Set Appointment. Now, since I only selected 3 records, that session is now over. But let's jump back over to the Nimble CRM, and let's take a look at these records that we just called. So for example, we called Andrew Sample. So if we click on Andrew Sample, and as you can see, that call that we just made today has already logged to Andrew's details as an activity. And if we go back to our list here, we can jump down to, what was it, George Sample. He's the one we clicked on the appointment button for. You can see that that activity has logged. Let's open up the details for that record. You'll see all of the note activity from that record that's been done within PhoneBurner. You'll see the status or the outcome of the call that we clicked on. If you have call recording enabled, you're going to see a link to that call recording. And it's important to note that all of these call activities can trigger automations within your system. And that's it. That's how easy it is for you to initiate a PhoneBurner power dialing session directly from within the Nimble CRM so that you can start getting more done in less time using the power of PhoneBurner. Thanks for watching, and happy dialing.